Check, check. Check, check. All right, sound looks good. Let's make sure the other screen's coming up nicely. For any of you watching in replay, if you notice anything is off with my voice, that is correct. I am a little bit sick. And so I do apologize for that. I'll be trying to stay hydrated. I am feeling better. So anyways, let's get into it. Welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at all things crypto, Bitcoin. We're going to be trying to run through as much stuff as possible. And let's just get started out with stocks. And you can see still in neutral territory. It is better than the fear that we were in a couple weeks ago. There was some volatility that came into the markets starting this week with the whole DeepSeek AI thing. And so you've probably seen NVIDIA fall down a little bit. That was something. Almost 600 billion wiped off NVIDIA in a day. So something to keep an eye on. Sometimes there's a little bit of a correlation between NVIDIA and crypto. Make sure we got all this ready to go. But I'll be talking about different macro crypto indicators, showing you where I believe we are as far as in relation to alt season and the Bitcoin top. I'm just going to be presenting you the data, putting it all together, letting you know what I think. And if you think or feel differently, that's fine. Comment those below. But I will be talking about altcoins. I will be talking about miners. So if you have any requests for altcoin analysis, Bitcoin miner analysis, give me about 5-10 minutes to run through some different data, and we'll get into some charting. Be happy to do that for all of you. But I hope y'all are having a fantastic Friday. I have been a little bit sick this week. Toughed it out as much as I could at work. But my diet has consisted of soup and orange juice. And so my throat, it's getting there. But apologies if I sound like a raspy old cowboy. Anyways, let's get into fear and greed. Crypto, fear and greed. Back up into extreme greed, just kind of chopping sideways for a bit. Last 3 months, you can see that reflected here. Are we truly making new higher highs, higher lows on the fear and greed? Sort of hard to tell, but when you zoom out, that does still look like overall a downtrend to me. So if we did get any spikes down, I wouldn't be surprised. But I do like seeing how greed and extreme greed, just take a look at the 70 line. How long has crypto been up there? Really since mid-October. So October, November, December, January, that's 4 months now. And what I do like about that is if we compare it to last cycle, we saw greed stay elevated for about 4 or so months until we had one of the peaks that came later on in April, May. It was the first of the 2 peaks as reflected here. And so greed was really high for about 4 or 5 months back in 21. And then we had the first peak. Now, are we going to get a double top peak where they're pretty even? I don't know. Maybe we get a smaller peak and then a larger peak. Who's to say? But just something to keep an eye on as far as fear and greed correlations. As far as alt season, one of the essential things we are looking for is a rotation. And this rotation, the last 2 cycles have happened. We talked about this in a video this week. I believe it was the rainbow chart video I put out on Wednesday. That when Bitcoin tops or is in the process of topping, that is when we see this true alt season rotation of Bitcoin going to Ethereum and the other large caps. I'd almost rather lump these in together as the cycles are going on, at least for now. Could Ethereum, which has not been everyone's favorite for a while, let's admit that, could this start to finally show everyone what it's all about and get to 0.5 of Bitcoin, somewhere around $1 trillion, and be worth around 10, 11K? That remains to be seen. But for now, I think it wouldn't be too unfair to say that maybe we lump these in together. BNB, Solana, XRP's kind of there in the middle, and then Ethereum. Maybe that's a way to look at this together. And then when Bitcoin is topped or in the process of topping, and we get that rotation into altcoins, the top 100, 200 altcoins, if you're lucky, your garbage coin on the Solana network, seeing a 5, 10, 20x in the span of a few weeks, that's what a lot of people are looking for. And I believe after showing you the data today, you might come away with a feeling that maybe alt season isn't right around the corner like so many other YouTubers and people on X are claiming. At least that's the feeling I have. On the way up to the Bitcoin top, which I believe will be somewhere around the 150K area, give or take. That's what we get with the rainbow chart as far as the orange bands. And I'll get to that in a second. That's what we get with the 2618 fib. So I'm looking for Bitcoin to top somewhere in the 150K range, 140K, 170K, I don't know. But on the way up, it's normal to expect pullbacks of 15% to 30%, hell, even 40%. Those happen. That is normal. When we get those pullbacks, in my opinion, that's the time to look for discounts. And if you liked buying altcoins at any time in this uptrend, why not buy more in one of these pullbacks? I think those are good opportunities, rare opportunities before we get to said alt season. Ian, what's up, man? Ian Tureen with a couple comments. Hey there, what do you think of the 25% tariffs for Canada and Mexico borders will do to this bull run? Not to mention the 10% additional tariff for China imports. Ian, that is a very large, loaded question. But I'll say this. Tariffs, from everything I've read and heard, tariffs they are inflationary. They do cause prices to go up. However, who are the people truly driving this bull market? As far as crypto, let me ask you a question. On the way up, is it whales, smart money, large money, the billionaires, the hedge funds, dark web money, all that stuff? Are the billionaires driving the bull market on the way up, BlackRock, or is retail driving it up? Who do you think has more influence? Now, I'll give you a moment to think about what that answer is. In my opinion, and you can disagree, when I see BlackRock and all these other whales, when they buy and that the fact they're still buying, these are smart people. And they're good with 20% gains instead of 5X's, like all us degenerates are looking for when we get the alt season. But retail chases the large money. And where I'm going with this in connection to, the whales, in connection to your question is that even though those tariffs could impact inflation and our dollars, by the end of the bull run, let's just say the top is end of this year or Q1 next year, who knows. End of the bull run, all of a sudden Bitcoin tops out, and then we start getting this alt season pattern as we have the last two cycles. At that time, same as the last two cycles, that is when large money is pretty much done with Bitcoin. They're rotating quickly in and out of the other large caps and small caps. And in that time, that's when dumb money, retail, starts to chase in, regardless of how much or how little is in their pockets. And then they get left holding the bag for 4 years. The people that you and I know, our friends and family and coworkers who talk about crypto, they talk about it at the local tops. That's why retail calls them dumb money and exit liquidity. I don't believe that dumb money and exit liquidity is here yet. So maybe a roundabout way of answering your question. But to an extent, not to sound dismissive, I don't know if it matters that much as far as the tariffs, because the retail, they'll chase, and you'll see how much money retail has regardless. And in spite of all that, in spite of all the differences with the bull run or this cycle, we have more money in Bitcoin than ever before. And even though Ethereum's been struggling and people hate it, I remember when 3,000 was insane for Ethereum. So sometimes I think being here since 2017, it's nice to have that perspective of, is crypto really struggling as much as people say it is? I don't believe so. And I don't see the top quite yet. But thank you for the comments and the questions. I appreciate that. Going over to blockchaincenter.net, as far as alt season, we are still in this uptrend, higher highs, higher lows. Possible to find some discounts in the altcoin market. I've been talking about how there's two strategies and ways I look at when to buy alts and Bitcoin miners. And yes, I do videos on both. So subscribe if you want to hear more about that. But one of my strategies are where my dip levels are and discounted levels. Whether it's moving averages, fibs, I am okay putting some money in dollar cost averaging in when those certain dips are hit, knowing full well it could go lower. My other strategy is waiting for confirmation, buy signals, positive movement on the stochastic RSI, the MACD, marrying those together. When you do that, you don't quite get the local bottoms, but you do hedge against risk a little better. So I try to do a mixture of both. That's just part of my plan. I know there's better plans out there, but that's my dollar cost average strategy, and we have not seen alt season spike up as it has before. Remember, the last two cycles, even though there was more altcoins here than there were in 2017, there were about 10,000 altcoins or something when there was, 1,000 in 2017, and now there's probably millions. So I know there's dilution in the market, but we can take a look at Total 3 and others and take a look at the charts, and I'd say make the argument there's still room to go. Now, my predictions are conservative. I try to use that word prediction lightly because past performance not indicative of future results, but let's be honest, we're taking a look at past performance because crypto has a cyclical nature that is given increased confidence to investors. I think that lulls people to sleep sometimes and plays tricks on our brains, but to an extent, we are using past performance to look for some of those results and trying to, instead of saying predict, I'm looking for a guesstimate, an educated guess on a range and a time. And that's what I leave for y'all to figure out. Ian, I agree, especially if we have QE. Yes, exactly. The Fed, as far as all I saw, they're continuing quantitative tightening for now. And so what could be the biggest catalyst for all of crypto to continue to move up? It's QE. But on the other side of the coin, why would the Fed go to QE? That is a question I ask in my own head a lot. Why would the Fed go to QE? They're going to QE because they need to and because something's broken. Doesn't mean the market still can't sputter up and finish whatever bubble it's in. And we've talked about that as far as the S&P ratios. Over time, you can see this is getting into that bubbly territory. But QE comes in for a reason. And crypto, risky assets that crypto has under its umbrella, they tend to do good during those riskier times. So I will say to anyone new here, this is educated gambling at best. And so we're trying to be as smart about it, look for value, hedge risk as much as possible, but there is a lot of risk in crypto. Let's go over to the rainbow chart. We talked about this Wednesday. Again, if you're just popping in, sorry I didn't put the video out on Monday. I was sick a bit this week, and that's why my throat's a little raspy today. But for anyone new here, the value isn't right in the middle, in the median, as far as I'm concerned, the median range. Because since the halvings, you can see this, we have these patterns, again, increased confidence. The halvings go up a color band each time as far as the price range. But the tops have also been coming down each time into lower bands. We can see that even reflected more so in the prior rainbow chart that was somewhat invalidated. So as far as the continuation of that pattern, that leaves us into the orange zones. The around 160,000, give or take, if a top were to be in May, end of this year, let's say 4-year cycle, look at the orange, 150, 180. What if it's Q1 next year? 160, 200. So if the alt season does get delayed out, that's not the worst thing in my opinion, especially if quantitative easing would come back in order to spur alt season. There'd be a lot of extra money flowing in. And remember, why do stock markets always go up? Why has the stock market always gone up and stocks always gone up? Well, it's not that necessarily stocks by themselves are worth more. That's part of it to an extent. But our dollars are also worth less over time. Since the last cycle, we've had inflation, and our dollars are worth 20 to 25% less, probably even more. Let's just say 25%. And so whatever prior predictions people had, maybe this cycle, alt season, it outperforms by 20%, give or take. Because, again, it's not that Bitcoin is worth more. There's also that factor of our dollars being worth less and the price of Bitcoin inflating because of that factor. So the rainbow chart, it is a logarithmic regression, factors of 10, and that's why we've stayed inside this band. I will talk about altcoins on Coinbase and Robinhood, as well as top miners. If you have requests for any technical analysis of certain altcoins, please comment below. But going over to Bitcoin and some of the Bitcoin macro indicators, we have our fib drawn high to low, macro high to low from the 2021 high, as close as I could get it, to the low in 22. And you can see Bitcoin, it's still stuck at the 1618 fib at around 102K. The weekly, even though there's been wicks above it, the candle bodies are staying below it. That is concerning to me on the weekly. I am curious to see what the stochastic RSI shows us. The stochastic trying to flip positive. Again, that'd be blue above orange, but then the blue is starting to go back under orange. So if this continues down, we could see this come back. Kind of like what we saw in 2024. We saw wicks above, and yes, new all-time highs were made, but the candle bodies, and I use Heikinashi, really never closed above. Not until the candle bodies closed above that former all-time high, that gray line, did we see the next move up. And so right now, if this struggles, do not be surprised to see Bitcoin, which is pretty extended from its moving averages, come down to the 20-week moving average, around 90K. Could you imagine? And then at worst, after 2024, after that mid-cycle top, came down to the 50-week moving average. I mean, who knows how much time it'd take to play out? But if we just take an average, what if Bitcoin came back down to 80K? What would you do in that scenario? Would you look for deals and discounts on your favorite altcoins? Or would you start ignoring crypto and say, you know what, screw this. It's not going to happen. It's over. There's no alt season. That's the sentiment I'm seeing right now. And if more pain comes into the market to kick even more retail dumb money out, just remember that it happens for a reason. It's not easy to buy low and sell high. And this is why. So you have to keep your mind about you and have a plan for if that happens. Bitcoin's very extended from these moving averages. Corrections are to be expected. Going over to the daily, what do we see? So far, this is more bullish in my opinion. We want to see this continue. Bitcoin, it was in this channel, broke out, and it made that recent all-time high. What was that? January 20th, so about 10 days ago, at around 109K. But look at the daily candles. I like seeing this, that the daily candle bodies are staying above the 1618 at 102K. Remember, on the weekly, this is just what's inside the wick right now. But the candle body stayed not only on the 1618, but you can see this wick was bought up when it came down to the 50-day moving average. So there's some buyers clearly at the 1618 in the 50-day. Now, if this breaks under again, that's concerning. So we will see if this holds, which on the weekly would show that the wick is not turning into a candle body. We We talked about this last week. Are we going to continue to see candle bodies close above? So far, not quite. Let me get some water. Sorry for any of the ASMR drinking sounds. I do apologize, fighting a little cold or sickness this week. Let's go over to Bitcoin dominance. What's Bitcoin dominance doing? On the weekly, still in an uptrend. Let's go to the daily. I mean, that's somewhat good. We see Bitcoin dominance coming down, but still a series of higher lows, not quite higher highs. Could this be a double top? If so, then we could see Bitcoin dominance start to move down again. But so far, higher lows and possibly a double top right here on a smaller time frame. Overall, though, when we're looking for alt season, what are we looking for? We can go to the weekly. This is when alt season happens. And we talked about this in the rainbow chart video on Wednesday. When Bitcoin is topped out or is in the process of topping out, that is when the rotation happens. So let's say that again out loud. When Bitcoin is done topping or in the process of being done topping, whales, large money, they don't want to invest in Bitcoin anymore. It's too expensive. So what are they going to do with their money? Take profits? Sure. Rotate their profits also into cheaper crypto assets that are undervalued or not extremely overvalued. And so that is what's happened the last two cycles. We are not there yet. We are not seeing that process yet. And that's reflected on Bitcoin dominance. And so until we see this start to turn over, we're not there yet. We could take a look at different indicators. I like the the ultimate RSI indicator right here. Let me show you my different indicators. We'll hide the EMA one. Sorry, I just hit it again. But the ultimate RSI, I mean, even just take a look at how high this has been for this cycle. We have yet to see it break down. And even still, even at the breakdown, we can get false breakdowns too. And imagine if something like this were to happen in the March, where all of a sudden we get this false breakdown and people say, that's probably it, that's alt season. Then it corrects for a while, comes back up, and then boom, then we get it. So that's why it's important to pay attention to the price of Bitcoin and where it is. Is Bitcoin in the process of topping out, like I shared before? I've also talked about stochastic RSI, which I like taking a look at on the monthly for dominance. It is turning down, which is good. But again, even though it can get to oversold, this wasn't the true alt season. So do beware. If Bitcoin dominance comes down by the time the stochastic does, and it bottoms somewhere around, 52% or so, not quite all the way down, 52%, we'll see. It might be somewhere closer to the high 40s as well. Then that might be sort of a false alt season where people run away with their tails between their legs and they think there's no alt season for it only to come later. So remember, that was October to May, April. That was only about 5-6 months before. So if we do get a false alt season, that still fits in with the 4-year cycle, theory, give or take. Total 3. This is the total market cap outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. I see a couple of questions there. I'll get to you guys in a second. I guess we can keep this on the monthly. But remember, when total 3 starts breaking out above all-time highs, that's when we first saw one of the alt season spikes last cycle. Okay, and it got between the 2618 and the 3618 fibs. This cycle, I'm not believing it's going to go up as much because we talk about how there's always regression on the log scale. That's what the fibs are showing us. On the monthly, total 3 has challenged a former all-time high, not gotten through it. But this is the range I'm looking for the total 3 top to get between 1.67 and 2.52 trillion. That's the range I'm looking for. The name game. Hello, glad to catch you on live. Always enjoy your videos. I wonder if you could take a quick look at ILV. It's been beaten down. I wonder what fib level you see it's most likely to hit. Great channel. Thank you. Thank you, the name game. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'll get into that in a second. Technical question from Ian. Is the Bitcoin dominance calculated from blockchain data or exchanges only? Is Bitcoin dominance calculated from blockchain data or exchanges only? That is a good question. And I don't know if we'll find our answer here. To be honest, I don't know. I would assume it's from blockchain data, but that is a good question, and I do not know the answer, and I'm not going to pretend to know. Chips and Salsa, what's up, dude? What's up, buddy? Just been sitting and cashing. Kind of sad I missed this little pump, but I think it fades. I think that's possible too, but we'll see. Allie, so when should I look to buy Bitcoin? And then Chips and Salsa, in my opinion. All right, yeah, let's answer that essential question. Should you buy Bitcoin now? There's a couple ways I take a look at when to buy, okay? One of the first things I look at is, in the last year, is an asset at its all-time highs or lows, okay? It's in the range of its all-time highs, and it's not too far off from its all-time high. If you were buying a vehicle during the inflation spike as trucks were selling for $100K, and let's say this is the $100K truck you wanted to buy, but then you could get the truck for 5% off and get it for $95K. Would you buy that truck, or would it still be expensive to you? So is Bitcoin cheap or expensive? It's expensive. On the daily moving averages, it is not at the 50, the 100, the 200. It's not at any of them. It's barely even touching. It almost touched the 20-day moving average today. So 5% discount, that's not good enough for me. But if you are patient and you get in at Bitcoin, possibly if there is a downturn and it comes down to the 50-day moving average, then that's got to be part of your plan. What portion of funds would you look at chipping into Bitcoin? And also, what is your sell target? Are you holding Bitcoin for the long term? Because for the long term, so far, there's this confidence that Bitcoin goes up. Yes, it has major downswings, but as far as this cycle and prior cycles have gone, we are closer to finishing out atop than we are to coming back down, at least as far as prior cycles are concerned. So we are more closer to the profit-taking area than the buying area. Now, if your target is only, market psychologist, I only want to buy Bitcoin and get a 20% gain, 50% gain. I think that's very possible. But as far as will you 2x your money, I don't know. Is Bitcoin going to get to 200K within the next year? Maybe. But I would temper your expectations. If you were to look at something like Ethereum, which people have said it's been underperforming, then that could possibly be a better play if you're looking to double or triple your money at best. And so there's a lot in your question that's missing, and that needs to be part of your plan and strategy to evaluate. But as far as when I look to buy Bitcoin or altcoins, I'll get into this with whose question was at the name game. Let's go to ILV. I'll show you what I look for when I chart. So let's go to ILV. Yeah, this one's beaten down quite a bit. You weren't kidding. This one's beaten down a lot. So, oh boy, what's the market cap on this bad boy? Let's go over to... Now, I'll be straight up with you on the name game. I wouldn't be buying this. ILV, number 316, crypto, $167 million market cap. So, do you believe it can get to 1.6 billion, do a 10x? What do you think? Why do you like ILV? That's a question I would ask you. But what is concerning to me is it's making a brand new low. So right now this thing is it just looks like it's dying completely. But as far as fibs, any fib I draw, whether from this high or this high, that's going to be the new low, the zero line right there. And so what I would be looking for, if you love ILV and you believe this thing can 10x, 50x in the research, you've put it in and this will do well. This chart shows me otherwise. But if you knew it would do well, what I would then look for in something like this that's creating a newer low is confirmation to the upside. We have our buy signals right here. This is one of them. Do we have a buy signal on the weekly? Not quite. How about the monthly? Let's zoom out. I would want to be safer. Now these monthly buy signals, not the best. That's one buy signal, but for in a bear market, altcoin or stock, I like this. I like this one more. There is no monthly buy signal, but do yourself a favor, add this indicator, UT bot alerts, and if this one prints a buy signal, you can see these were all false breakouts. Again, I think this coin, at least from the chart, looks like crap. But if this puts out a buy signal on the monthly, then maybe you have something. That's one way to look for confirmation. We also talked about the MACD, the stochastic. What do those show? I have to get rid of one of these. What does the stochastic RSI show? This one on the monthly, the blue's crossing above the orange. That's good. But does that not look like it wants to cross back under? So take this one at your own risk. Allie, understood. I appreciate the answer information. What do you think about XRP in its chart? And could you explain how to use the fib chart and what to look for and what they mean? Yes, I'd be happy to. So let's go to XRP. XRP, US dollar. Is this the one that I've charted before? No. XRP has a few charts, so bear with me just a second. It's probably the Binance one. There we go. All right. So let's erase this fib right now. We'll do this from scratch. We'll erase that one too. And so when I'm drawing a fib, by the way, oh boy, what is going on? Where did my fibs go? Let's refresh this. Sorry. The fibs are usually on the side of the page. Probably could have just scrolled over, but let's refresh this. Oh boy. My Mac is being touchy right now. Let me get this. Here we go. Let me get this over. Sweet. How's that looking? So here's the fib tool. I hope you can see it on the left. I'm looking at the screen. We have the fib retracement tool. Okay, it's on the left side. There's a little bit of a delay. Let me make sure this is showing. All right. That does look better. All right. So we have our fib tool and we zoom out. Okay. Let's go to XRP again. Sorry, I don't know why that was scrolled way over on the side. That was weird. But we have this fib tool, and what I do is I go to the most recent high, okay, which is right here, and then I draw a fib. This is one way of drawing it, and I draw it down to the most recent low, okay? Now, when we're looking at prices in between, we want our fib on log. We want our chart on log. This is one way to look at it. There's a lot of fib tutorials. But after this high and low, okay, after the low is put in, you can see where it's retracing to. So XRP got to the 618, didn't get through it, and so that wasn't good, was staying under the 382. That's why this massive move by XRP is so surprising. This isn't how stocks move, by the way. It's how crypto moves. But when there's that deep value, for all the people buying in between 50 and 60 cents, all of a sudden this took off. Okay, so XRP got to a new high, it blew it out of the water. When we draw our fib high to low, we can also take a look at targets when we take our fib off log scale. And when you do that, you see XRP got to the 1618 at around $3. Now it's been hovering around there for a bit. You can see it's only wicking above on the weekly, not candle body closing. So there's some resistance there, and there's no denying it's respecting the fib level. And so the other part of this is how extended is it from the moving averages and those fib lines. And yes, these fib lines change when we go off log, but it's extended right now. So if XRP came back down to one of these fibs or moving averages, then that's where I take a look at some supports when to buy. Now, XRP, where it's at right now, it's not in buy territory at all. It's more expensive than it's been in years. Okay. But if I'm looking at where I might buy in again, we have these fib levels down here. Would it retrace back down? Would it get to the 20-week moving average after a big move up? You know, here's the daily moving averages. Would it come down to the 200-day moving average and the 888 at $1.60? So XRP, for everything I'm seeing right here, tells me this is one of the tops, possible tops for it, and this is where I'd be taking profits. Now, maybe there's another top left for XRP. I talked about how I believe alt season is a little bit of ways, and I still need to show you guys a couple charts. Well, the next major fib target would be the 2618 at 473. So if XRP goes up further, that'd be an area to look for. But if I were buying XRP around 50 cents, I would happily, this is me, not financial advice for you, I would happily be taking profits right now. And then if I wanted to leave some in and see if it hits the 2618 around a little under $5, that's what I'd wait for. But anything above that, I believe it's just a bonus. I don't believe XRP is going above $10. I could be wrong, but that's what I'd be looking for. Because let's keep in mind, this just did a 6X, literally from the start of November. Think about that again. In the span of 3 months, XRP has done a 6X. That is not normal. And so it's okay to take profits. All right. I hope that helps. And okay, it looks like we're good on the charts here. Let's move over to, I wanted to show you guys a couple other charts. So we also have been talking about the shadow of Bitcoin dominance, and that is Ethereum divided by Bitcoin. And as far as Ethereum divided by Bitcoin has gone, here's a way to draw a fib. So I drew it from the, how did I draw it? Okay, from this macro high to low, Ethereum divided by Bitcoin has fallen under the 382. Okay, so the next area, major area to look for support is the 236. Here's another way to draw a fib though. When it starts a new trend up, you can also draw from the macro low to high. And you can go in smaller time frames and draw fibs as well. But macro low to high, I was hoping we got to do this again. I almost screwed this up last time. Some of you will remember. Here we go. We have to make sure, because we're in between the prices, that our fibs on log. Right now, ETH Bitcoin, it's holding support kind of at the 618. Now, it's wicked under, but we'll see. This might be support. But if it gets under there, remember what I talked about from the macro high to low, around 0.16. Our next targets are 0.16, 0.14. Here's the important part, though, is when we get alt season, we're seeing Ethereum divided by Bitcoin move up. Now, last cycle, this took a while. It went from August of 19. And by the way, that's when Bitcoin dominance peaked. So again, Ethereum Bitcoin's the shadow of Bitcoin dominance. But it took about a year and a half until we got alt season. All right. You don't have to trust me, bro, on that. We'll just draw it out. This is when alt season was finishing. Took about, you can see there, 609 days. And where's that candle? It's right around there. Big move up. I didn't draw from the very bottom. You know that for anyone that's been here before, that moves about 300%. Now, the cycle before 2017, I mean, look at this. Ethereum Bitcoin bottomed, and then within a month, it rocketed back up. Now, are we going to get more drawn out, a short one, combo in between? I don't know. But what I'm looking for sure is what moving average can Ethereum Bitcoin not get through? That's the 50 week. Once Ethereum Bitcoin gets through the 50 week, then we are getting close. How close? We'll see. Ripple never buys. XRP only sells. So enjoy taking profits from other poor staffs. Yeah, Chillis William, I like your comment there. Yeah, exactly. Man, yeah, it cracks me up. It took a lot of flack for it on a video where I said XRP is never going to 10K. There's videos out there on YouTube. You want to see the degeneracy, and please don't fall for the cult mindset. But in the pyramid scheme mindset, you know the type of people, they knock on your door, they ask you questions about, joining a certain cult or religion. That's what I see in XRP. And again, that's no hate against anyone buying it 50 to 60 cents. They got a 6X. That's awesome. But let's have realistic expectations, because $10,000 XRP, no. You can do the math. 10K divided by 3, and then you multiply that times the market cap. XRP isn't going to have a market cap greater than the entire globe's GDP. It's just literally impossible and stupid. We talked about total 3 earlier. Let's also talk about others. What is others? It's a total market cap, crypto, excluding the top 10. Okay. So like total 3, others, and you can see here, let's put our fib on log because we haven't broken out yet. I was taking a look at price targets before. Others getting support at the 786. You can see it's honoring the fib and it's honoring the moving average, wicking right down to the 50-week moving average. But we want to see others get through this 888 and then obviously the former all-time high and then hit the price targets. Again, for anyone paying attention to how I do fibs, the 1618 is at 752 billion. Okay, now this will probably go way higher, in my opinion. Where that target is, who knows? But I wanted to show you a couple different charts right here. And first, let's just get into this one, because I've seen this over the years. People have talked about how gold, when it starts to capitulate or sell off, that Bitcoin tops out around that time. We can see gold, where's 2017? September 2017, here we go. When gold bottomed here, when it had this move down, that's when Bitcoin was topping out. Let's find 2021. Where is 21? This is, here we go. Kind of going back up there. So overall, less of a factor. And again, I'm just taking a look at this with y'all right here. So, how much correlation there is, we'll see. But after gold topped out on the move down, alt season came later. Gold isn't done topping yet, if you believe in this. And so by the time it tops out, where's it going to top? 3,000, 2,900? We'll see. But when it starts to come down, people have said in the past that's when Bitcoin does well. So tell you what, let's take Bitcoin divided by gold. And what do we have here? Looks a lot like Bitcoin's chart, albeit a little different. You can see it's not as extended past the former all-time high like we are now. And so last cycle, when Bitcoin dash gold was getting above that former all-time high, it went up to the 2618. Okay? That hasn't happened this time around quite yet. It's right at the all-time high line. But if you believe in this, and I have to take a closer look myself, but I wanted to take a look at this with y'all, maybe even have a conversation, know your thoughts. When Bitcoin dash gold starts to move up towards 1618, we might see alts do well. That's not happened yet. And so is it going to stall out, come down, or is this getting ready for a move up? We'll see. There's also Bitcoin divided by others. We just talked about others. It's crypto excluding the top 10 by market cap. All right, let's turn this on auto. And what do we got here? Bitcoin divided by others. How can we make sense of this? Curious now. Sorry, bear with me. Others divided by Bitcoin. Oh, I've looked at this one before. All right, others divided by Bitcoin. What do we got here? So by the way, this, no wonder I looked at this before. Look at where the peak is. You can see the data at the bottom. This is when alt season topped out. Again, others is total crypto market cap without the top 10. So total 3 is total crypto market cap without Bitcoin and Ethereum. Others is without the top 10. So this is where alt season finished in 2017 at the end. How about 2021? You can see the data at the bottom, and this lines up. I think I just saw this, and this was an easier way to look at it. And so it got to this upper line, and I drew this channel because it looks like it's in a channel. But if you believe in this channel, what else do you notice? We haven't hit that channel bottom. Do we have to? I don't know. But that would be something to watch for, that maybe others needs to break down against Bitcoin a little bit more before moving back up. Again, I'm of the mindset, I'm leaning more and more towards 4-year cycle, and that the top will be somewhere later in 25, early 26. I don't know why so many people are opposed to that. And I get it, people want to make their money now. But as far as these 4-year cycles, we can just go in the past. You can see December 2013, December 2017. Okay, we had COVID and all the money printing, so we got the early top. But then the true top, November 21. We have just started the post-halving year, and this is only the first month that we finished. Okay, so I get wanting to make money. JG Wentworth, shout out. It's my money, and I want it now. I get that. But you know, we may still have more time, and is that such a bad thing? Is it such a bad thing if alt season was further down the road? We have a couple more comments. Did you see others hitting 1 trillion? Do I see others hitting 1 trillion? Let's go back to others. Let me try to get you an answer to your question. Let me get rid of this last fib. It looks like a circus clown show in here. I could see it. So remember, with that fib I just erased, I don't want to draw it again. It blew the fibs out of the water. And so 1 trillion at the 2618, I could definitely see it. I really could. But we'll see. But that's my opinion. I believe, yes. My name is Van the Man. What's up, dude? Whoa, my favorite channel is live, and I'm 30 minutes late. Okay, almighty cleric. Thank you. What's our time frame to sell everything this year? I have $75K of student loans. Oh, boy. I feel your pain, by the way. When I got my master's in the field of psychology, let's just say my number is very close to yours. I don't know if you've looked up the public service loan forgiveness program, but it's worth looking into. You work 10 years. You make payments like 10% of your check for 10 years in federal nonprofit, but by getting paid a little less and paying some of that loan back, they're then supposed to forgive the rest of your loan. So that's something to look for if that's a route you choose to go. You could go private, make more money, and pay it off. But look into that, by the way. That's something I'm looking at doing. But your $75K of loans are depending on my channel? No pressure. Jesus Christ. Man. All right. Well, let's go back to Bitcoin, by the way. We talked about this on Wednesday, right? And when I did my rainbow chart video. And we talked about when alt season happens, right? So when alt season was taking off, it was right after Bitcoin topped out. When alt season was taking off, it was right after Bitcoin topped out. And we can see that when we go to Bitcoin dominance. Let's take off some of these moving averages, and we can just add in Bitcoin. Bitstamp, why not? That should work fine. Will it? Well, let's zoom in here. Let's try to get that as exact as possible. Okay. I want you to take a look right here. Again, I'm going to keep repeating this because I feel people don't understand. When Bitcoin topped, that was when we had this second peak of Bitcoin dominance here in 2017. But Bitcoin was done topping. We then had the rotation that we talk about into altcoins. Now, altcoins, if you're in the right ones, they can still go up by the time. But you can see that over the next 4 weeks, that's when the rotation happened, when Bitcoin topped. Let's go to 2021. Where is Bitcoin? Okay, you can see here the double top. Where is Bitcoin in regards to the dominance top? Okay, well, it was in the process of finishing out its top. I'd say like even this false low it made dominance-wise, when it's around this area, look at the date at the bottom. That's March, end of March. April is truly alt season. I can tell you by someone who was there, April to the first week of May was truly alt season. It was like in 2017 when it was the second half of December into the first week of January. The 2017 alt season, to me, felt like 2 weeks, maybe 3. Last cycle, it was the month of April, kind of. I'd say, yeah, later half of April into early May. So, yeah, 3-4 weeks. The chart shows 6 weeks, but being someone who was there for both of the last ones. But what do we see with Bitcoin going on? Bitcoin was done topping out. When Bitcoin is done topping out or in the process of topping out, then there's that rotation. That is the one key thing people are forgetting this time around. And is Bitcoin done topping out? No, in my opinion. Even if you take the most conservative approach, which I will raise my hand and say I'm taking more conservative approach than all the knuckleheads out there calling for $1 million Bitcoin this cycle. Or if you want to look up something funny, because I've been here since 2017, look this up on Google right now. You'll laugh pretty hard. There's a guy named, not Pat McAfee, not the ESPN guy, John McAfee. In 2018, he said, or 2017, look up John McAfee, bite off my own, and then the guy's member that starts with the letter D. But he said, sorry if any kids are watching with their parents, but this is true. He said somewhere near the top here, if Bitcoin doesn't get to 500K by 2020, I will bite my own off. Okay, this bullish crap has been around all the way since 2017. Has Bitcoin gotten the 500K since that time? No. The guy's dead, rest in peace. Heard he loved coke, had a crazy lifestyle. But all the same, that's why I don't buy into this $1 million Bitcoin stuff yet. And even with the most conservative approach, taking a look at the descending tops in the rainbow chart, let's say 150 to 200K, somewhere in there. That's where I'm looking for the top. And once it tops, I just showed you all this. Once Bitcoin tops, that's when the rotation happens. And so if you're looking at altcoins, and if your altcoin is going to do well during alt season, I cannot promise which ones will or won't, but I will tell you your odds are increased when you're looking at the top 100 alts, maybe top 200 or some of the top miners. But if you're in the right ones, during that alt season time at the end, that's when they go 5x, 10x. So for all you greedy people out there who are sad alt season isn't here yet, just remember that Bitcoin isn't done topping yet. It got to its 1618. Oh God. Bitcoin got to its 1618 fib. Let's turn this on auto. Okay. At around 102K. But it has yet to get to the 2618 or the 3618. 2618, 155. 3618, 209. Again, this matches up where the rainbow chart shows us where would 155 or 210 be? It'd be in those orange boxes in a 4-year cycle. Okay. Maybe you believe in timing cycles. And you're like, you know what, Mr. Market Psychologist, the average time from every bottom to peak puts us topping in March. And I hear people talking about where the moon is having some impact on that. Sure, whatever. Well, let's just say March. Hell, I'll give you April even. Where's 155K? It's right at the bottom of that orange box. So if we get an early alt season, and if all of a sudden Bitcoin spikes to 155K, that would be a target to look for. Say, well, is it going to rotate now? And as I showed you with Ethereum, Bitcoin, that can happen slow over the course of a year and a half, or fast over the course of a month, or somewhere in between. Chillest William, after summer is how past bull runs have gone on the 4-year. Yeah. On that timing scale, if you guys like timing scales, I can give you half a dozen different arguments where the top will be based off different things that happen. Okay. But if you go from every halving, which are these white vertical lines, I added all the halving times up, or the times up from every halving to the eventual peak from prior cycles. Excuse me. Toughing it out here for you guys. But the average would put it out in, that's not right. Here we go, the red line. In August of this year. Now, people have been saying, based on timing and this and that, that the top is going to be September. I get the argument. But again, you're only taking past data and moving it forward. When I take past data, move it forward, that's just giving me a general idea or range. To me, what's the most significant is paying attention to price action. Not, it has done this, now it will do that. Fractal is this, now fractal is that. Okay, that's how people get screwed and wrecked by the predictions. They say, well, we had this exact fractal one time 20 years ago in the S&P or whatever BS they come up with. Okay, you got to follow the price action. Your plan has to work regardless of whatever, because the fractals are going to eventually break. Okay, and so your strategy has to work regardless. Strategy is more important than predictions. Okay, and having a mindset, is it at a discount? Is it expensive? Should I sell? Should I buy? We are in possible sell, take profit territory for people just looking for smaller profits. Thank you. You're welcome. My name is Van the Man. Let's see. In the name game, I kind of see Bitcoin topping in March, April, then alts in Q4. Yeah, wouldn't that be something? And by the way, that would be opposite of what happened last cycle. Now, there were alts that did top in November and some miners. And by the way, I should start getting to altcoin and miner analysis right after this. But alt season was in this first peak. Now, let's say Bitcoin does a double peak again, whether it's 2021 or 2013, 14. Let's just, for argument's sake, say one of those happens. Okay. Maybe the first peak's higher, second peak's lower. Who knows? But last cycle, alt season was in the first peak. And if we get something like this, and I think Bitcoin dominance, in my opinion, shows this, as well as others and some other charts out there, gold to an extent, because gold's not done topping, and we just started looking at that today, then maybe Bitcoin has an early top, a false alt season, and then we get the true alt season at the second top. Whether it's higher or lower, I don't know. But we just need that rotation. And again, that rotation we're looking for, remember, we have more money in Bitcoin than ever before. Way more money than last cycle. Okay, so there's more money that will rotate. So I don't care if the tops are a double top, one's higher, one's lower. I don't care. We have more money than ever before in Bitcoin. That's more money to rotate. That's a good thing. We are looking for, again though, Bitcoin to top out or in the process of topping out. Then we can get the rotation. All right, let's get into some altcoin analysis, shall we? We talked about XRP. Let's talk about Ethereum. And if you have any requests, please put them below for any Robinhood or Coinbase altcoins. Ethereum, what do we got? It's in this wedge. It is lost the 786. That's not good. We don't need to turn on the buy sell signal. But it's been getting these bounces off it's kind of hanging on the 786, getting these bounces off the 50-week moving average. We do have a recent higher low. Let's go over to the daily. The daily kind of holding on to the 200. It had a nice little move up. So I'm sure today people might be saying some nice things about Ethereum for once. But it only wicked above the 786 in the 50-day moving average. It hasn't taken it. So right now this is still resistance, this 33.50 range, give or take. And if that resistance holds, we could still see it come back down to the 200 around 31.41. Now, should it break down further under the 200, and the 200-day is usually close to where the 50-week is. If the 50-week and 200-day can't hold, we have the 100-week moving average and the 618 all the way down here. Let's say we are to get some minor bearishness in the market for a few months. Okay, do not be surprised if Ethereum all of a sudden got into this range of, let's say, 2,500 to 3,000, somewhere in there. Something else to keep in mind, and we'll keep coming back to it, is we do, on average, since 1932, elections have sideways, slightly downward price action with the inauguration. So this, if you take the numbers at the bottom, averages out around 100 days. I still believe there's enough data out there for me to believe this year will still be bullish and that we're not going to get a crash. We'll see, never know. But if I believe this started a little earlier than average because we didn't get the Santa Claus rally. So maybe that 100 days gets done earlier, and that would put us out kind of late February. You know, could late February be the time we start to finally move up? Just something to keep in the back of your mind. Let's see, the name game, that's why I said it. Maybe the market throws us a curveball. Yeah, you know, I think it's good to be prepared for everything. And I'm not trying to avoid having convictions in my answers or give you a straightforward answer, you know, to where, well, this guy, by how he talks, he's never wrong. Again, I'm trying to talk more about strategy than predictions. Okay. And when we use our data, like a good scientist doing research would, you collect a bunch of data and you look for where that data lines up. What hypothesis would that lead you to believe? And if you can get to that conclusion through other replicable methods, great. You know, that's why I don't do Elliott wave theory, but I'll watch some Elliott wave videos out there. And it's funny how their numbers sometimes match up. And to me, that's just, okay, there's other methods that are replicating some of my price targets. And that's a good thing to have. Is it true? Is what true? The coins that fall the most are the ones criminal organizations use to transfer funds. I don't know. Marshall, you would have to take a closer look into the wallet addresses. I don't know. I mean, criminal organizations use actual money as well. I can tell you that, whatever country you're in. So criminals, they buy things with their dollars. They buy stuff with crypto. One of the big pieces of crypto is trying to have it decentralized. That's probably a big buzzword you've heard. Decentralized. Well, you know, everyone's cheering for ETFs and government central bank digital currencies. That's centralizing it. So depends on your perspective, but we don't need to get much deeper than that. Let's get into Doge, because I know there's some Doge fans here. Okay. Here we go. Let's get into Doge. And, all right, let's go to this one. There we go. All right, Doge from the macro high to low. What do we got? Doge got rejected off at 786, hit around 42 cents, wicked right down. Look at how nicely it's bought up off that 618. But then it's come back up. I'd be looking for that 20-week moving average at around 29 cents. Let's go to the daily. Doge is holding support at the 100-day moving average, and also some sideways price action in here. So if you like Doge, the next leg down, here's the 200-day and the 618 at around 26 cents. With how detached Doge got, I'd be willing to be patient and wait for that 200-day and this fib. But, it depends on what you think. Where do you think Doge can top? If we take a look at price targets, at least fib-wise, and again, keep in mind where the market cap would be. This is what I want to do here. The market cap, if Doge broke through its former all-time high and got to the 1618, you're talking about Doge to $1.16. Well, where would $1.16 market cap be for Doge? So $1.16, that's almost a 4x. Let's just say 3.5. And right now it's around 50 billion. So do you believe Doge can be worth 150 to 180 billion? Do you believe that? If you do, then that 1618 is your target. And sure, maybe Doge can get there for a moment. We got Elon following Trump around like a puppy. So maybe we'll see. And they even made their own Department of Government Efficiency. We'll see how well they do with the defense military budget spending and all the price gouging that goes on within that. Not going to talk deeper about it. But how well is that going to work? Is Doge going to have reason to pump? We'll see. Let's see. That's why we're subscribed, dude. You seem to be reasonable compared to all the other everything. Well, 100x freaks. Yeah, bunch of freaks out there. That's why I made my channel. I was so sick and tired of people giving outrageous, ridiculous predictions. And I'm more of a stock guy anyways. And so when I look at things through charts, I kept telling myself there is a good sense of conservative realism missing from the crypto space. And even my conservative targets, if this wasn't crypto we were talking about today and we were talking about stocks and not mining stocks, which we will get into, but just stocks, people would say I'm crazy. What? You believe this stock is going to 5x when the S&P tops out and then there's going to be a rotation into, I don't know, I'm just going to make up some random thing, into Charmin Ultra? That Charmin Ultra stock's going to 20x. I don't even know if that stock exists, but that's just part of my point here. It's even my conservative outlook on crypto is way radical for stocks are concerned. So if what I'm saying is conservative for crypto, that tells you something. All right, let's maybe get into Cardano, Chainlink, and AVAX. Again, if any of you have certain requests for altcoins, comment them below. As far as Chainlink, did have that recent push up, didn't quite get to the 786, but it's still in this channel, and you can see Chainlink kind of trying to get to the upper end of that channel. May get to around $27, but if it comes back down the lower end of the channel, you can see where the moving averages are. We have the 618 fib right in the middle where the 100-day moving average is coming to meet up. So some possible DCA opportunities there, $21. But then we have the 200-day moving average in the lower end of the channel. If Link got back down to this $18 to $16 range, I'd be looking to get some. And I might actually set a buy order at this fib. I'm still upset with myself that I didn't set a buy order at this 236 when we had the yen carry trade unwind. Because you can see how it's just snipe bought, and I thought I'd come back down again, and it didn't. I'm still mad at myself for that. Did get some on this trend line, when it was between 10 to $11, but right now it's a little extended. This is discount territory I'm looking for. What else did I say? Cardano. Let's go over to crypto. Cardano. Oh boy. All right, so we need to extend our fib. For who was that? Ali before was asking about. Ali was asking about how to draw fibs. So trying to make sure that bottom's aligned. But what's Cardano doing? Well, it's respecting the fibs. I try to use indicators y'all can use. All right, so you can replicate this at home. Please don't go off my TA. Make sure you can replicate it. But could not get through the 618. It's peaked above, a little false breakout, but it's been rejected enough times. And it came back down to the 0.5. But you can see this time around, it's a little bit of bullishness, higher low, and look at that. Someone was waiting to buy at that 100-day moving average right there at around 85, 86 cents. But now it's holding resistance at that 50-day moving average. So if it does come back down 86 to 83 cents, let's take a look at AVAX. Every week I get a couple of comments asking about AVAX. Similar to other charts we've seen out there, we do have this trend of lower highs and higher lows. But right now it is at the 0.5 and the 200-day moving average. So if AVAX was an altcoin I loved, this would be a value where I'd say, you know what, I might put some in. I might put in some money into AVAX at the 200-day and the 0.5 fib. But it's underneath this fib, and the candle body is underneath the 200. So it's still in a downtrend. We still have these lower lows. I would not be surprised to see it get down to this higher low wedge trend line at around 28, 29 bucks. So looking for value, discount area to buy. You know, you might tell yourself, well, as far as recent history goes, it's almost 40% off. It's close enough to a decent deal. Again, I don't hate it, but do we have confirmation? Is this a confirmation buy? No, it's not. It's still red, still coming down. And you can see the weekly moving averages down there around 30 bucks. And with these lower lows, and I just showed you how it's losing the 0.5 fib. Do not be surprised to see it get down here. And if you're looking for confirmation, stochastic, still going down. It's not flipping up yet, but it is getting towards that oversold area. Right now with the weekly stochastic in these candles, I would be leaning more towards waiting for confirmation, personally. All right, let's go over to, I don't see any requests for altcoins. Again, you can type in below if there's any Coinbase or Robinhood altcoins. Type them below. I'll do some charting for you. And let's get into a mining stock. So mining stocks, kind of like AVAX, similar-ish chart. You know, there's a lot of these wedges around. I'm curious, did we get buy and sell signals here? Yes, we did. A little bit of sideways action. So we had a buy signal, followed up by a sell signal. And I hope you know why I use Heikinashi. Trend is your friend. So I'm trying as much to see where the new trend's starting out. But as far as the weekly, you can see that the candle is on that wedge trend line. The 50-week, it wicked down to the 100-week. So there might have been some good value buys down there. Let's go over to the daily. And the daily, man, look at that trend line, how nice it's holding up. So we do have these higher lows overall. But the last time it made a move to these moving averages, it did get rejected. It wasn't able to turn them into support. So this would be one. I like Mara. Would I buy some right now just for the value where it is on the chart? I would. Does it have confirmation yet? Not quite. And we can see that I don't like using the stochastic underneath the weekly time frame going to the daily. But you can see here, what's it doing? We got to zoom way in on this sucker. The blue is, okay, there's a little space of blue. It's just starting to get under the orange again. So not quite confirmation yet, but it's down there. And historically, when it's down here, oversold, not the worst area. We don't have quite confirmation. It can still go down a buck or two, but I might get some Mara. Better to use regular or log fib for crypto? Better. That is a personal preference, in my opinion, because I watch some people out there on YouTube for stock videos who they swear by the regular time frame. Okay, they don't look at log. For crypto, I believe in log though, and also remember I'm looking at the weekly time frame to start for a lot of these, and I'm drawn from the macro prior highs to lows or the macro prior low to high. And so because crypto has this this phenomena of having a logarithmic regression, that's why I believe the log scale suits crypto better, in my opinion. And so that's why I go off log. But again, I'm going off of macro time frames. If you're going off of smaller, shorter time frames, you're more of a trader, trade investor, then regular time frames, absolutely fine. But yeah, for crypto overall, that's why I like log. All right, Litecoin and Ray. All right, Chillis William, let's get into it. Let's get into Litecoin. I've been hearing some positive things about Litecoin recently. And which one do I want here? Good, I got the one that I drew fibs on before. All right, what's going on for Litecoin on the weekly? So nice move up recently from that 382 fib to the 618, where it's currently hitting resistance. Litecoin is extended right now, but it had over 100% move. I mean, if we went from the very bottom, I'm just going by the fib, but it had over 100% move. There is one good thing here, though. As you can see, the 50 week is not only crossed above the 100, that's a positive cross, it is now getting ready to cross above the 200. Now, the 618 is being tested. I'm not saying buy right now, but we're about to get a golden cross, right? 50 above the 200. And so that could lead to some possible continued bullishness. And if so, your next targets are 220, which is crazy. Again, if I was talking about stocks, but this is crypto, so who knows? And the 888 around 300. So 300, 888, if it continues to be bullish, if that golden cross turns out to be anything, 220. So I'm not saying load the boat, FOMO, because what do we got here as well? We have recent rejections off the 618, but we do have these higher lows, and if it were to have a positive move up, why not? Going over to the stochastic, this would be even more data to say, hey, there's still room to run. Look where the stochastic is. It's not overbought quite as far as the regular RSI. So yeah, this could still have some room to run. Regular RSI could still be overbought a bit more, in my opinion. So I would not be shocked if this all of a sudden got above, but it is extended a little bit. Let's say there isn't a breakout and it came back down. Then I'd be looking for value at that 0.5 fib or these moving averages. They're all right together right now at around 80 some dollars, in the high 80s. But by the time, if Litecoin were to move down, some moving averages would probably be over there. So that's what I got for Litecoin. I saw that heart. Someone hit the heart emoji. I appreciate you. All right, let's go over to Ray. And Ray, okay, maybe this one. Let's take a look. I hope this is the right one. I don't believe I've ever charted this one before. Well, let's take a look. So this one is as new as August 21. Okay, this is where the macro high is. So I'm going to draw a fib from high to low. Now our fib is clearly off log, so we are going to put it on log. All right, Ray. So it was accumulating a bit there at the 0.5, and you can see honoring the 20-week and the 50-week moving average. Got above, got rejected by the 786, came back down to that 20-week moving average. Now has made the 786 into support. And so next we have the 888, which is at about $10.35. And then the former all-time high at around 17. So nice job. If you got Ray anywhere down here at around 20 cents, that's awesome. You've not just done a 10x, you've done, a 35x, something like that. And if it gets back up to the former all-time high, that's crazy. So if you got Ray anywhere down here, even 80 cents to 20 cents, that'd be awesome. But as far as further price targets for Ray, we take our fib off log, and there we go. We have the 1618 at around $29. The 2618 at around 47, the 3618 at, that says 64.47, the 4236 is 75. Now maybe you're telling yourself, whoa, this guy showed me all his price targets. Can't wait for Ray to get there. It's not what I'm saying at all. If you've been buying down here, it would be kind of foolish not to be taking some profits right now. At least your initial return on, or your return on initial investment. So then you're playing with house money. Okay, how high it can go, that's up to you to decide based on its market cap and what you believe in the market cap can be. Cross-reference that with the fib targets, and there you go. But don't just sit there saying, well, I believe this thing can be worth $50 billion. You know, what's your reason for whatever market cap target? Radon is Solana's main DEX. Okay, well, I hope it does well for you at whatever price you got in on. Next, let's go over to some other mining stocks. Again, I'm happy to chart other altcoins or miners on here. And by the way, both Marathon and Riot, we do have these ascending trend lines, and they kind of line up where the fibs are. You know, should we get an alt season for miners? We'll see. But right now, Riot's still in this channel, this descending channel. And on the weekly, not the best candle, but you can see, look how there's all these moving averages, and it was bought up quite well at that 382, the 100 week, the 50 week. And so people are buying that $11 discount. It ain't too far away, and the moving averages are inverted right now. Let me get some water here. Excuse me. Again, I apologize for the nasty ASMR coughing, drinking water sounds. I hate it myself. I'm going to watch and replay and cringe, but I do apologize. I'm trying to feel better as quick as possible. The candle body is holding on to the 200 week. And so, you know, I don't hate this $11 range if you really love Riot. But, man, if Riot loses that 382, man, is there a lot of room to run. Or go down, sorry. And maybe you could look for some support around $9, but lower end of that channel. But, you know, if Riot got back down to the lower end of the channel around $7, not going to lie to you, I'd be buying some. I'm not telling you to buy some, but I'd be looking at getting some Riot at that point. And here I don't hate the value either. Let's go over to CleanSpark. CleanSpark moving averages, it's right underneath the 100. They're all resistance right now on the weekly. But look at the wicks. It's getting bought up off that trend line in this massive wedge pattern. And yes, we have a lower low here. So next cycle, when CleanSpark has a bottom, I'd be taking a look at it for the price to be down to $3. But overall, you know, if you like CleanSpark, do we have some positive movement on the stochastic? Let's see. So a little bit of a move, but now, I mean, it does look like the stochastic is going back under. So it could go down further. It might break this trend line and go to the 0.5. Now, value-wise, would you buy, if you like CleanSpark, would you buy it there? I would. I mean, if CleanSpark was one of my top mining stocks, you know, I'd take a look at some value down here. Trend lines don't always have to hold. And are my trend lines perfect? No. You know, some people say, well, that's a cop-out. That's an excuse. You know, but hindsight's always 20/20. So, you know, we'll see as far as CleanSpark. There's Wolf and Cypher. I know some of you like. Let's go to those two. And if there's other miners or altcoins, again, comment them below. Wolf holding up nicely on the 0.5 fib, got bought up. So when it got under the 0.5 fib on the weekly, got bought up off the 50 and the 100 week. Man, people, it's so cool. This is why I have on moving averages. And by the way, this is the indicator, EMA 20, 50, 100, 200. Moving averages and fibs, they go together beautifully. Add in the buy signals, the RSIs, I think then you're cooking with fire there. But just got bought right up. And so TeraWolf, I think someone commented before or earlier this week, they're like, I just bought more. I hope it holds. So we're at the 0.5 and the 200-day. Now this is concerning, at least on the daily, is that we have the candle bodies under the 200-day. But look at these candle bodies being squeezed between the 0.5 and the 200-day. Being squeezed. Which way is it going to go next? It's going to pop down, up. We'll see. So I think overall, though, what we see is that there are a lot of crypto assets that are oversold, but they haven't quite crossed positively yet. This one's crossing negatively again. So I don't hate spot buying here. We don't quite have confirmation, but I don't hate the value buying here. And by the way, someone in the comments last week, thank you for all the comments, by the way, whether supportive or constructive criticism. They said, you said deep value. Warren Buffett isn't buying this crap. I'm paraphrasing. And you're right. Warren Buffett is not buying this. Warren Buffett doesn't need a 5, 10x like we do. But what I'm trying to do is bring some sense into the crypto space and look for where that value is. And the person's right as far as value. Is that the best word if we're going to debate over semantics here? Discount is probably the better word. These are at deeper discounts. But yes, Warren Buffett isn't buying these. He doesn't need to buy these. Why would Warren Buffett, one of the richest people in the world, be buying riskier assets? But it's not to say they can't go up. And we're trying to do our homework here and look at the balance sheet on these as well and see which of these have good balance sheets. We've taken a look at, which one was this on? This one's on Mara. We're taking a look at the balance sheet, positive asset to liability ratio. TeraWolf, not quite so good. Cores, not the greatest either. So we are trying to do our homework and look at good stocks, good crypto stocks. Lastly, let's go to Cypher, and then I'll go back over to alts. We'll take a look at some other ones like Jasmine and stuff. So Cypher, I love how this guy just grinds up. Look at that daily wick, though. Weekly wick. Jesus. So the range of that wick, 34%. You thought NVIDIA was bad. So it got up as high as 633 down to 414. Jesus. And so, yeah, quite a move. But look at how it's bought up off those weekly moving averages. And this one I added the golden pocket fib, which is the 618 to the 0.65. And so as soon as it hit that 6.5, though, look what happened. What a nice daily candle for Cypher. Jeez. What a good move there. Is that reflected here? Yeah, 23%. Just shot up. Let's also take a look at iron. I've been seeing some people comment about iron. Oh boy. Let's zoom out here. Just trying to scroll up. My Mac mouse is so touchy. There we go. Hate how it does that. Iron Limited. All right, so just has these series of higher lows, and man, it wicked down a little bit. Not looking the greatest there. Probably similar stochastic RSIs if I had to guess. But it did get some support off that 200-day. So if you like iron, there is some positive movement back in here. But we'll see. Overall, holding up decently compared to, when Bitcoin goes down 3,000 points and 3%, altcoins can go down quite a bit more. And so that's something to keep in mind. And all right. No new comments about altcoins, so I'm just going to start running through some. Again, if you have any requests, now's the time to get them in. But if not a lot of requests for altcoin analysis or our other macro analysis comes in, we'll be wrapping up this video. Jasmy, overall, does that not look like a channel to you? That looks like a channel to me. Let's take a look at this. I love my channels. Oh yeah, the tops are right in a channel there. And then the bottoms, somewhat. So Jasmy still in this channel. No denying it with these tops. Yes, it got up to that 618. But what's it going to do here? Is Jasmy going to break out of this channel, make the 0.5 into support, get out of this area at around 3.5 cents, or is it going to come back down? I wouldn't be surprised to see Jasmy come back down overall. You can see it's gone up and come down before. Gone up, came down, went sideways, held the 382, got up above the 0.5, came back down to the 382, went sideways, got above the 0.5, went up to the next fib, came back down. Looks like it wants to get to the 382. So maybe, but overall, barely got under the 200-day moving average. And when it did, though, what did it wick to? The 50-week. So Jasmy wicked to the 50-week moving average on that one. All right. What other altcoins? Oh, I know which ones to look at. Pepe's fallen a little bit. Gone down to 6 trillion. Let's take a look at Pepe. Is Pepe and Bonk going to be this cycle's Doge and SHIB? That's a question I ask myself. As far as Pepe, that is not the one I've charted, because I could have sworn I've charted Pepe before. If I have to chart again, I will. Nope. So it drives me crazy when there's so many different charts. All right. Well, let me go back to the Binance one, and we'll just go from there. Here we go. All right, so Pepe, I think it makes more sense to, one, macro-wise, we can draw from the macro low to high, and look at that. Pepe came right back down to the 236 fib and the 50-week moving average. Got bought up quite nicely there. And if we go to the daily, even on the daily, it got bought up. However, look at that wick, though. Quite the opposite for sellers. Sellers were waiting at that 200-day. So what this shows me is that I would not be surprised to see it revisit the 236 again. And now Pepe being more of a meme, riskier play, I'm fine waiting and being patient for this 382 line, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros, 6, 6, 7. If it got underneath that, you can see this wick was bought up right away at the 0.5. 5 zeros, 417. But I think, even in, I don't know if we're getting back down here. So even in a not so good scenario, this would be a low I would look for. As far as Bonk, all right, got to the right chart. So you can clearly see the fibs off log. Bonk, when it had its nice move up, it got up to the 1618 at 4 zeros, 5896. But it's come back down. It has lost the daily moving averages. It is on the weekly, right at the 50-week moving average, a little bit below, but it's at the 0.5 fib. So if you love Bonk, I don't hate Bonk here at this 0.5 fib level. Could it get all the way back down to the 382? Sure. Do we have confirmation of a reversal yet? No. It's probably still falling, but it's oversold. And so Bonk at this level, if you're looking for a meme play, I don't hate it here. At least on the daily. Now that 0.5, you can see it was being bought up before. Right here. 1, 2, 3 times. Got a little deeper. That is concerning. But if it did go down, again, the next area is 4 zeros, 2102. Oh, but our fib's off log. I'm sorry. We have to put our fib back on log. I apologize. It got down to the 618 fib. I always feel stupid when I forget to do that. Got back down to the 618 fib. So remember how it was the 0.5 and then got underneath it? X all that. Now that we're on log scale, the correct one right now, you can see, though, it came back down to the 618. So got a nice little bounce there. But if it came back down lower, then you're looking 0.5. 0.5 is 4 zeros, 1940. Again, apologies for misreading that chart there. That's why it's important to double check our work. Any others? Let's do near protocol. We had people asking about Trump before. I do want to get, you know what? Let's get into Trump right now. Why not? This is for entertainment as well, you know. So, Trump. Nope, not the one. I think I charted the MEXC one. There we go. Yeah, you can see how new Trump is, by the way. And we have to extend this out a little bit. Man, so just overall, looking at the daily chart, look at this. Look how young of a chart this is. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14. All right, let's zoom way in. Let's go to the monthly. Oh, God. Let's take off the moving averages, too, by the way. That's not doing us any favors. All right, moving averages. What do we got? Trump is still bleeding down. And right now, you can see it's just holding that price action it had from back here. There's also this level at this dip at around $21.50. If Trump isn't able to hold that, then we're talking about $17.40. And then there's a big gap down. And so Trump is not a coin I'd be buying. I'd be willing to be patient. It might go up from here. I don't know. But I'd be willing to be patient and wait for some of these lower levels, $7. You know, but this coin might just die. Yeah, not one I'd be taking a look at personally. Near protocol. Let's take a look here. And for near, let's first go back to our correct. I can't do 30-minute charts. Let's go back to the daily. Near having some good support at the 0.5. All right, and we have this series of higher lows coming up to the 0.5. So around this level of 4.48 to, well, let's just say $4.09. Decent discounts in there for near. But yeah, if it did get under that 0.5, next take a look at that trend line at around $4.08. All right, let's go back to the comments. INJ, the name game. Yes, INJ, that's been one that pops in and out of my list. I could have sworn I've charted this one. Did I chart the Coinbase one? Yes. All right, well, let's start that over again. See, I was charting something back there. All right, so let's first chart the most recent, or fib, the most recent high to low. All right. Now, this is on the weekly. Let's try to get this bottom as perfect as we can. There we go. All right. At least on the weekly, from that all-time high at around $53. When was that, by the way? March of last year. March of last year is when I had that all-time high. Maybe there's an older chart out there, but that's what I'm seeing. So $53. Came down to a low at around $13.50. We had this nice move up to the 618. Wasn't able to close above it. But then it lost the 382. It's always concerning me when it loses the 382. However, as far as deep value goes, what do we see here? It is at the 236 fib, and it's getting bought up at the 236 fib and the 100-week moving average. Now, being under the 382 is concerning. How are we looking with the stochastic? Still is yet to finish bottoming out, confirming. This is one I'd be leaning towards confirming just to make sure it's not going to make another newer low in this downward trend. because that's still possible. The fact that it came back underneath the 382, that possibility is re-entered the chat. But you can see that has been support, that 100-week moving average. And this week, it has hit that 100-week moving average. So if you're just looking for a value buy, I don't blame you. Did have a nice little move up the last couple days, but we don't have confirmation yet. And the 382 is where all the moving averages are on the daily. A lot of resistance there. You want to see that 382 get retaken and kept this time, which is at around $23. All right. Don't see any other comments, so I think we'll start to wrap it up there. Let me just do a little recap here. So I'm going to keep repeating this, is that Bitcoin, it has been topping when, or alt season has been happening when Bitcoin has been topping. Okay? That is what we looked at today. And so let's go over to a different Bitcoin chart. I believe I keep this one empty. Let's take off the moving averages. So we can't expect alt season. People ask, when is alt season? Well, we've showed that alt season happens when Bitcoin is done topping. And when we overlay, we can do it, overlay a Bitcoin on the dominance chart or dominance on the Bitcoin chart. You can do it either way. It doesn't matter. We have dominance overlaid on the Bitcoin chart. 2017, Bitcoin topped. And then we got alt season after Bitcoin was done topping. That's when there was the rotation from the billions, trillions in Bitcoin, Ethereum into the smaller cap altcoins. It happens when Bitcoin tops or is in the process of topping. Bitcoin was in the process of topping here. We had that little false breakdown like we had before with dominance. But then right here, end of March, that's truly when alt season started. When Bitcoin, it wasn't just in the process of topping, it was topping. And then boom, we had that rotation. That is when we get alt season. Now, yes, there was a little mini alt season in here with this double top. Maybe we get something similar, or, we get an inverse false alt season in the first top, true alt season in the second. I don't know. But this is what we are waiting for. Bitcoin to top out. And again, with the fibs, with the rainbow chart, I think there's a lot to show us that these orange bands, the first lighter orange band, 120 to 155K, that's where the 2618 is. That could be a topping range to watch for. Or, more 4-year cycle. I'd be taking a look at that 150 to 180K range, maybe 200K in the most bullish scenario. That to me, 200 to 210K would be my most bullish guess at a top for this cycle. 200 to 210. Do I believe that? No. My conservative average estimate is 155 to 180K. But regardless, as I just showed you, once Bitcoin is done topping, that is when we get alt season. Or if it's in the process of topping, that is when we get alt season. People are saying there's no alt season this time. Bull crap. I don't believe it. Bitcoin's not done topping yet. It only got up to the 1618. So I believe there's further to go. And other charts show us that, whether it's Bitcoin dominance, whether it's total 3. Again, total 3 is total market cap outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. That hasn't broken out. When it broke out last cycle, look at that date, February of 2021. All right. We know that there was that top by the start of May, and that it truly started. When did I say end of March? Look where total 3 was end of March when alt season truly started. Is at that 1618. Are we going to see something similar this time around where we get a nice move up and then it's truly alt season and then we get that big rotation? Maybe. Something to look for. But like total 3, we also have others, which is total market cap, excluding the top 10. Okay, let's clean this up a little bit. This one hasn't broken out yet. Others has not broken out yet. But when has it broken out before? When has others broken out before? It broke out. Take a look at this date down here. February of 21. That is what we just saw on the total 3 chart. Total 3, February 21. But we take our fib, take it off log scale. Are you going to see something similar? Where is end of March? Yeah, end of March, it was at that 2618, breaking up even higher for others. Okay, we do have regression of profits over time. So are we going to see the same? I don't know. But those are things to look for. We have not broken out with others. We haven't broken out with total 3. We also have ETH-BTC, which in my opinion is imitating more so what it did in 2017. Are we just going to see it spike down and up? Could you imagine? Now, keep this in mind. Look where this trend line connects. This is 0.5. What that is saying is that Ethereum, if it gets back to that trend line, will have half the market cap of Bitcoin. That does not have to happen at the very top, by the way. So alt season, the first time around, it was topping around here. So we only have to see ETH Bitcoin get back up to that 236 area. Okay, alt season, look at that. It was right around that 236 level. It wasn't all the way topped. If we zoom in a little bit, January 8th. So I guess it was getting up there. It was right in between there. We could go in on the daily. I want a more exact answer personally. Let's go in on the daily. Where is January 8th? Yeah, so January 8th, it was a little bit higher. Okay, but still close to the 236. So alt season does not need to get all the way up here. But if Ethereum has half the market cap of Bitcoin, at least as far as right now is concerned, then you'd be talking about a $1 trillion Ethereum. And that is about a 2.5x. 2.5 times 33K. What would that be? 66, and then another 15, another 16. 66 plus 16, 72, 82. If I'm doing that right. 8,200, if my math is correct. If Ethereum got to the 0.5 right now. So, that's why people are calling for 10K, 11K ETH, by the way. And that is close to one of its fib targets. We can take our fib off log. There's the 1618, 7300, the 2618, 11K. So I would not be shocked if Ethereum, when it does start to go, all of a sudden gets to 11K. Last cycle, I remember how crazy it was for ETH when it finally started to take off as well. Because for a while, Ethereum, it was underneath $300-$400, and then it got up to dang near 5K. So that was crazy. So $300-$400, $4,000 or $5,000, 10x. Then is it so crazy for Ethereum to only do a 3x from here? I don't think so. I think that's entirely possible. So with all this data being said, I hope you all are clear on what to look for. And as far as where dominance is and what it's done in the past, my opinion, we still have a ways to go. We still have a ways to go, possibly even another year. If we're just comparing the RSIs and what happens. Now it could go quicker. We might see a false stop in March. Be ready for be ready for anything. But as far as I'm concerned, I'll keep doing these videos every week. And when this starts to happen, I'll let you all know. I will slowly alert you as this stuff pops up. So that'll do it for today. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day and have a great weekend. Take care.